and why you got to stop believing the BS that says that if you're born poor, you got to stay poor, or if you're working class, you always have to be that way, or that everybody has to work until they die and then die with nothing. That's all fake news. That's all just propaganda. That's the trap. Right. We got rappers that rap about the trap, trap music. We celebrate the trap. I told y'all that. We love to celebrate the trap. And I just really believe because here's the thing. There's like a type of comfort that comes with like sort of submitting to the trap. Because if you submit to it, like if you just say, "Well, I'm in the trap, I can't get out. Ain't nothing I could do. I don't know how to do nothing. I don't, can't do nothing because I'm black and because I'm poor." If you like fall into that, then it's easy for you at that point. Life is easy because you don't have any accountability. You don't have no one's gonna hold you account. No one's gonna get in your face and say you got to try harder, or why were you drinking beer instead of working out, or why were you wasting your money instead of saving it? Like nobody's gonna do that because you in the trap and you're disabled and you can't accomplish nothing. And because you did black and being black mean that you can't have nothing in this world. And I just don't think that's healthy. I think that that's bad. I don't like, don't get me wrong. I think, I talk all day about racism and everything else. I can talk about that all day. But I think that when you talk about racism, you can use it as either an excuse to not try to accomplish anything, or you can use it as sort of motivation, as a driving force to say, okay, this is why we got to be extra diligent. We have to be extra prepared. We have to have our head on the swivel. We got to be ready to work. We got to go hard. We got to do our best, right? Because your grandmas told you that. How many of y'all had grandmas, like, or grandfathers that were, similar to my grandparents, who just kind of used to tell you things that were just a little depressing at first, but kind of motivational, maybe meaning like, if you're black, you got to work twice as hard to get half as much. Did anybody else have parents or grandparents that told them stuff like that? Give me a yes if that's what you heard growing up, because I know I did. I heard that a lot, and it sucks to hear that because you're like, man, I got to do extra work. I have to do more work than the white boy, right? And that's not fair. It's certainly not fair. But then again, I think your grandparents, the ones who were around before integration tricked us to trade in our land and our businesses for student loans and corporate jobs, they kind of understood that life isn't fair. Like they just sort of accepted that, and and it's not fair that life isn't fair. But then what happens is that you can take that unfairness and make it into your superpower, right? It's like for example, I think about those people. You ever see those like really amazing people that have a quote unquote disability, but they're like better at doing things than 99% of the population? Like you have that person that was born with no arms that knows how to type with her feet. Like you're like, how did you do that? And you ask that person, like, how in the hell do you type with your feet? I had a classmate like that when I was at University of Kentucky in undergrad. I had a classmate who had no arms, and she would come to class and she would take notes with her feet and she would drive with her feet. And I was like, how do you do that? And she said, it's easy. Like that's what I've been doing since I was a baby. I didn't, it's easier for me to do it this way than it would be if I had to use arms and hands. I don't see how you do that. That was really fascinating to me. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you're privileged if you're born with no arms, but just the idea that her mindset was in that sort of framework really made me think carefully about how we're trained, right, and how we're conditioned as children. Like I think you can be either conditioned to have a superpower or conditioned to have a disability. It depends on how it's sort of presented to you when you're a kid. So if you're presented with this false idea that, well, because you're black, you can't do anything on your own and you have to wait for the Democratic Party or something to come save you, then you're gonna pretty much buy into that. I think that you're gonna just live in that space and not try to do very much and just sort of just say, okay, well, you know what, I'm black, so being black means I can't really accomplish much, and unless massa shows up and helps me out, and that's not really I don't think that's very productive because Superman ain't coming, right? I think we know this by now, I hope. Superman's not coming. We've been waiting for a long time. Some of y'all waiting for Jesus. I don't get me wrong, maybe Jesus will be coming eventually, but he hasn't shown up yet that we can see. And you're gonna have to do it yourself. And I think the good news though is that once you sort of accept that, the way I believe that our grandparents did, then you'll find that that's when your superpower emerges. That's when you become great. And I'm actually give you an example. I'm gonna show you guys a video of a really inspirational man who was probably born before integration, who literally was making $12 an hour. and basically became a millionaire. All right. So let me find this video. And I want to kind of not just show you the video, um, but after I show you how this $12 an hour employee became a millionaire, I'm gonna really talk about exactly why what he did was not that hard, right? That's the part this is where I get to show my superpower, right? When you have a PhD in finance, you can dissect and reverse engineer. Okay, I see what he did. I see what he did that's different from everybody else. And then we could talk about what it kind of means to mass produce millions of children that can do the same thing. All right. So let me share this video. Give me 1 second here. And as I pull this up, I want to remind everybody later on today, we're doing a portfolio power play for the Black Stock Market program, which basically is where you can ask me stock market questions. I'll give you some stock picks that I like in terms of long-term investments. And we can come in and just kind of talk about economics and finance and in a private Zoom. It'll happen at noon today. If you want to join, I'm going to text you all a link to do a free trial in the Black Stock Market program if you'd like to. 30 days, 100% free. You can see if you like it. And if you, so to get that text, make sure you're on the text list. Text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. Also, this week, you guys know we have the first ever Black Financial Therapy Department in the Black Business School. There's never been, to my knowledge, a Black Financial Therapy Department specifically designed, specifically to find out specifically why Black people specifically have mindset barriers. They keep us from building wealth. So we're working with the best therapists out there. My wife is the head of that department, and she works with a lot of the best Black therapists everywhere to do this. So they are doing a special event on trauma. I told you all that trauma creates drama, which destroys your wealth, destroys your relationships, destroys your mental health, destroys your physical health. And if you want to be successful, you must heal from trauma. So what she's going to do in this event, she's calling it From Pain to Peace. It's totally free for anybody that wants to join. She wants to help you find, number one, your trauma score so you can diagnose yourself, find out how traumatized was I, what did I go through that may be affecting me that I don't know about. And then second of all, she's going to show you how to fix it. Right? We don't just point out the problem. We want to solve the damn thing. So she's going to show you how to fix it. She's an expert at this. She's not just a therapist. She trains therapists. That's how good she is at what she does. So she's doing this on what day? What is it? The 17th at 8 p.m. It's a one-time thing, but it's free for everybody in here. You will get a text link inviting you. Just get on the text list and I will send out the link. Text the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to 87948. I'll send you an invitation. All right. So with that being said, let me pull up this video really quick, and so you guys can see why I was super amped this morning. I put this video on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance. If you want to come hang out with me on Instagram, I need you to follow me there because I did get tired. I'm not going to argue with idiots. So anyway, so here is this amazing story. I was super inspired by it. I'm gonna play it. Let me know if you guys can hear it. Here we go. You can't hear it because it's
earn more than $20,000 a year.
How you doing?
So how could he know something about corporate profits? I had to pry.
So Earl, what's your net worth?
$500,000.
$500,000?
Yeah,
From working here?
working here.
That's amazing.
Over $500,000 net worth on a parking lot wage. How did he do it?
Stop working so hard and let the money work for you.
As the years rolled by, Earl kept saving what seemed like meaningless amounts. He started investing $25 each month into a mutual fund and did that consistently for 15 years. By the late 70s, his net worth was $25,000. He bought stock in blue chips like IBM and Coca-Cola that paid dividends and...
Instead of taking the dividends and pocketing it, let it set or let it reinvest itself and increase my shares. And the more shares I had, the more dividend I had. Eventually, the more money I have down the road.
He believed in the power of compound interest and stocks for the long haul. Today, Earl's stock portfolio alone is worth more than $500,000. And yes, his house is paid for. And no, he doesn't carry any credit card debt. He's never made more than $12 an hour.
I'm gonna play this one more time. You guys were able to hear that, right? Give me a quick yes in the chat. Let me know you can hear it. I want to play this one more time because y'all know me. I like to dissect stuff, and there's so many beautiful gems, like keywords that just got me going. Like, ooh, this is it. This is it. This is better than any finance class you'll ever take in college. I promise you. Because believe me, take it from a guy who's taught probably 20 different finance classes when I was at Syracuse, from banking to international finance. You will learn more in this video about being black and wealthy than you would learn in with a whole master's degree in finance. I in my opinion. So anyway, let me play it again. This video is awesome. I love this man. Here we go.
Never earned more than $20,000 a year.
How you doing?
So how could he know something about corporate profits?
Father's gonna get.
I had to pry.
So Earl, what's your net worth?
$500,000.
$500,000.
Yeah,
From working here.
working here.
That's amazing.
Over a $500,000 net worth on a parking lot wage. How did he do it?
Stop working so hard and let the money work for you.
As the years rolled by, Earl kept saving what seemed like meaningless amounts. He started investing $25 each month into a mutual fund and did that consistently for 15 years. By the late 70s, his net worth was $25,000. He bought stock in blue chips like IBM and Coca-Cola that paid dividends, and
Instead of taking the dividends and pocketing it, let it set or let it reinvest itself and increase my shares. And the more shares I had, the more dividend I had. Eventually, the more money I have down the road.
he believed in the power of compound interest and stocks for the long haul. Today, Earl's stock portfolio alone is worth more than $500,000. And yes, his house is paid for. And no, he doesn't carry any credit card debt. He's never made more than $12.
Okay. So here's what I think that what got me going about this video, which makes me super excited, is that Earl is my grandmother, basically. Not that he's not changing his gender or anything, but he's basically my grandmother because my grandma was very similar to Earl. My grandmother is the panther behind us. The panther's name is Felicia. That's our mascot, if you will, for the Black Business School. And and when they said that his house was paid off and his credit cards are paid off, that was like, yeah, my grandma was like that. My grandmother never made more than $22,000 a year. Her house was paid off, car was paid off, credit card paid off, all this stuff was paid off. The only difference between Earl and my grandmother is that my grandmother, like a lot of your grandmothers, had a fear of the stock market. And that's a fear. That's where we're taking the ball and going to the next level in this generation, because there are things about investing in the market that you should be afraid of, but you can't avoid the market, because I've explained to you all that the research shows that stock market participation is the number one variable that helped us when we were, as financial scientists, determine who's going to be rich and who's not going to be rich. That's the greatest variable. It's like saying, if you're predicting who's going to be hungry and who's going to be full, well, if somebody says, well, this group of people ate food, this group of people ate air. They ate air and drank water. This group over here, they ate turkey and dressing and fried and some baked chicken, not fried because that'll kill you. Baked chicken and maybe like some salad or whatever. And you say, well, who's gonna be full? Who's gonna have a full stomach and who's gonna be starving? Well, it's easy to predict. Well, who ate the damn food, right? So the same thing is true when it comes to wealth. When we're predicting, okay, whose pockets are gonna be fat and whose pockets are gonna be skinny 20 years from now. And then the dividing line is, well, this group over here invested in the stock market. They put their money in the S&P 500 funds for 20 or 30 years. This group over here, they went to work every day and got a paycheck and went out to the club and put money in stripper thongs and bought, $7 lattes or whatever, right? And I'm not saying that that's bad. I mean, if you like strippers, that's on you. That's okay. But my point is to say that you can really easily identify. Take it from a guy I've gone through the data. This is what we do. This is what professors do. All you do is do research all day. And when you look at the data, investment participation in the stock market is that variable that makes the difference. That's how you determine who's going to be fat and who's going to be skinny, whose pocket is going to be full, whose pockets are going to be empty, who was in the stock market, who got involved in the easiest wealth building, most powerful wealth building mechanism in the last 200 years versus who just kind of thought they could work their way to wealth and save up their paychecks or whatever was left after they went and spent money on whatever, right? So that's one thing about this that's really important. What I love about this video is that they're really not talking about, privilege and he definitely wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He didn't go to college, from what I could hear. I didn't get any sense that he went to college and got 50 bachelor's degrees and a master's degree. He had a certain set of values. He had a certain value system. Do you understand? He had a certain value system supplemented by a modest knowledge base. A knowledge base that you could give your 5-year-old. You can sit down and explain to your 5-year-old, put $25 a month of your check into a mutual fund. A 4-year-old could get that, right? So this is not super advanced stuff. This defeats the myth of stock market investing. Everybody is like, oh, I got to go to school and I got to do this. And then you bore yourself. You sit through these long ass seminars with some financial advisor trying to impress you with super long words that are going to scare the hell out of you and make you think that you got to go back and spend 50 hours studying to learn how to invest. And then you just don't do it because who wants to do all that? It's going to take too much time, right? But he didn't, if you pay attention to this video, this is a video I could probably watch this video 50 times because I took notes. I was writing. I took several notes because it was beautiful. It was so simple. So let me just break down some of the simplicity of it and what was going on in the video that got me so excited this morning. Because in case you haven't figured out, yes, I'm a weirdo, but I'm weird because I think this is interesting. All right. So number one, they talked about reinvesting. He said, I reinvest my dividends. That's extremely important. Any farmer or any person that has a garden understands that in order to grow something, you have to plant seeds. Am I right? Or am I right? Right? So the same thing is true with money. If you plant seeds, then you will have a harvest. And when people say, "Well, I'm broke and I'm struggling," then what they're basically saying is, "I have no harvest. I'm hungry." A good question to follow up with that's probably going to make them mad and maybe make them want to slap you or think that you're uppity is to say, "Well, did you plant any seeds? Because why would you expect to have a harvest if you planted no seeds?" This man was a financial farmer. He was just planting seeds. He said, rather when I got the dividends, rather than spending it, I would reinvest it. That's what he said. That right there, that fact alone is a very accurate predictor of the fact that this man's going to have more money than almost all of his friends. Number two, what else is it? He believed in compound interest. This is a financial consciousness statement. The financial consciousness statement is that he could see down the line that if I keep doing this, that my money's going to grow. He was thinking long term. He wasn't thinking, how can I get $25 to have fun Saturday night? He was thinking, if I keep doing this and I trust the process and I commit to a certain set of principles, that this is going to lead to prosperity. Do you follow what I'm saying? That's what he was saying. He said, I believe in compound interest. I believe that if I keep planting seeds and there will be a harvest, and that's a financial consciousness. He's visualizing the future. That's what we do every day. That's when I talk about financial consciousness. I told you all that's one of the aspects of it is, can you see the future? Are you even thinking about the year 2032? Or are you trapped in 2024? Are you free mentally, or are you in the trap? A lot of people are in the trap. A lot of people only see what's happening right now. They're only thinking about what's happening in 2017. They weren't thinking about 2024. They were thinking about 2017. Now 2017's gone, and 2024 is like, I'm here. And you're like, damn, I wasn't ready for you because I was thinking about 2022 or 2019. No, you want to, investors think ahead. They think ahead. They have consciousness, which allows them to imagine the future. This is coming from the prefrontal cortex, which is actually the impact of the prefrontal cortex is heavily diminished by things like entertainment, which is when they talk about television programming, you are being programmed to be short-sighted in your thinking. Do you understand? You're not, they don't want millions of people to be conscious and thinking and processing things and imagining the future and looking at long-term complications. No, they want you to just eat the potato chips because they taste good. They want you to go to Wendy's after that and get you a burger because it tastes good. They want you to go and spend money because it feels good. Go have sex with that girl because she cute. She got a nice booty, and don't worry about no child support. That don't happen to nobody. She won't get pregnant. People don't get pregnant after sex. That's fake news, right? And next thing you know, you've got all these problems because you've made all these short-term decisions that have compiled themselves into long-term problems. Do you understand? So what else? Next, he's not flashy. He's very, very simple man. That culture, again, this is all cultural. He didn't learn this in college. He clearly came from a family that wasn't all about throwing up and vomiting all of your prosperity onto the world and showing everybody what you got. He wasn't doing the Instagram flexing that you see all over the place. You see rappers. I saw one guy. It was so funny. He was some social media influencer, and he pretended to be getting out of a helicopter with a Gucci bag, right? And he didn't realize in the video that the helicopter door was actually shut. But he started the clip where he's getting out of the helicopter, but it was funny because the door was shut. So that wasn't even his helicopter, but he was doing all this to flex for the gram. And I think he said something stupid like, every day you got to grind if you want to be on top, right? But he's showing off a helicopter that wasn't even his. So this is clearly an insecure man who is not all that conscious, in my opinion. Maybe he's immature, maybe he's just a kid. But remember, he learned this behavior from somewhere, right? He didn't obviously wasn't raised in a space where humility is a virtue. In fact, I remember somebody saying, it was a flashy rapper who was trying to explain to me why only suckers are humble. And I said, well, what's wrong with being humble? Well, because if you humble, then you ain't proud of your stuff, and you got to be this and be that. And I'm like, no, I like being humble. To me, humility is confidence. I'm humble because I'm proud. I'm very confident in who I am. I don't need to scream in your face and show off what I got for you to for me to feel good about myself. No, humility is actually okay because it keeps you under the radar, because when you're loud and showing off everything you got, then you become a target of all the people who hate you and want to take away your stuff, right? So I think that you got to really think about culture. And actually in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, I spend a lot of time talking about culture. And this video was beautiful because all this man was showing you is the culture in his value system and his consciousness. He got none of these things he didn't have to go to college and go $200,000 in debt to do that. He didn't. This man probably has less student loan debt than everybody in this room who went to college, right? But he knew everything he needed to know to build a multi-million-dollar legacy. And I'm gonna explain why it's a multi-million-dollar legacy. They said his net worth was 500,000, but that's a multi-million-dollar legacy. So let's keep going. All right. He mentioned letting your money work for you. This should be a goal of every person who hears a word that I say. You want to see a job, and working for money should be temporary. That should be something that happens until it's not necessary anymore, because somebody is taking the rewards from that work and transferring it into a space where your money is going to work for you. Your money will always work 100 times harder for you than you work for you. I have a brother-in-law who's into investing, and he would always say, well, money never sleeps. Money never sleeps. And he would point to the dollar bill, and he'd say, you ever seen a dollar bill where the picture on the dollar bills where the guy's eyes are closed? No, his eyes are always open. Why? Well, because money never sleeps. Well, that's kind of true. Money never sleeps. Like, money doesn't need a break or a vacation. Money doesn't get tired. Money will be up there just working for you, working day and night, like Michael Jackson. And that's a beautiful feeling, right? But you have to work to get to that point. And at the very least, if you can't get to that point as quick as you want to get there, you want to get there for your kids, right? So if you get there and you're compiling the wealth for the babies, right? We're doing this for the kids because we don't want them to be slaves like us. Then they don't have to work because their money's working 100 times harder than they ever could. All right, so let's keep going here. He put $25 a month in a mutual fund. Now, if you guys go to blackwealthmasterplan.com, blackwealthmasterplan.com, that's our $5 a day plan that we have been that I've been sharing with the Black community probably for about 10 years now. And because it's very simple, very basic, a 5-year-old could do it, but it will make your family wealthy by the time you're done. So feel free to go to blackwealthmasterplan.com. Instead of $25 a month, I actually say $5 a day, which is $150 a month. $150 is $5 a day is less than the cost of a McDonald's value meal. It's less than the cost of a Popeye's chicken value meal. $150 a month is probably about 1/4 of what most people spend on their car notes. The average car note in America on a used car is about $550 a month, and the average car note on a new car is approaching $1,000 a month. I want to say $800 a month, something like that. Some people have car notes that are $1,000. So I just ask people, I say, well, do you care more about your future and your family's legacy than you care about your car? Do you care about your children more than you care about your car? If the answer is yes, then you should probably at least invest as much in the future of your family as you put into the future of the car dealer's family. Okay, it's very simple logic. The website is blackwealthmasterplan.com. Also, there's a training I did called How to Make Money Without Working. If you text the word money to the number 87948, then you can get that too. Text money to 87948. And also, I saw someone was asking about meeting with me directly and having a conversation, things like that. Every now and then I'll do either small group consultations or individual consultations. If there's one available, you can email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. They can help you get whatever you need. Okay. I'll say it one more time, support at theblackbusinessschool.com. All right. So what else did they say? They said that by the late 70s, his net worth was about $25,000. And so think about this. So the late 70s, he's worth 25,000. By the time they did this video, which looks like the early 2000s, he's worth $500,000. And this is what money does. Money grows in insane sorts of ways. In fact, let me give you, I did some calculations as well to say, well, what would happen if he took that $500,000 and let's say that he passes away and he puts that money into a trust fund and lets it grow as, at the same rate as the S&P 500, and he does that for say a 30-year period. Well, then you're talking about millions and millions of dollars, somewhere between $4 and $8 million after 30 years, right? So literally this man, the $12 an hour parking attendant, the guy who a lot of people would think wouldn't amount to anything, wouldn't be able to leave anything for anybody, is literally the man who allows his children and grandchildren to be multimillionaires. I mean, do you understand how powerful that is? Do you understand how amazing that is? And so don't ever let anybody make you think that because somebody doesn't make a lot of money, that they can't have a massive, massive, massive economic impact. You don't have to have a lot of money. You just have to have a lot of vision. You have to have, money isn't as necessary as discipline, desire, love, economic love. If I love you and you're my child or my grandchild, if I love you, then I'm going to build for you. If I love you, I'm going to leave something for you. If I love you, I'm not going to leave you destitute. If I love you, I'm not going to make you start where I started. If I love you, I'm not going to put you through what I went through. If I love you, I'm going to think about you. And if I love you, I love my, I love all my kids, but I told our little girl, I'm her bonus dad. I'm not her biological father, but I don't care. I love that little girl. And I just said, my job as your dad is to protect you when I'm alive and when I'm dead. I said, I will be here with you even when I'm gone. So don't you ever think I'm not here with you. I got your back. Even in heaven, I'm gonna have your back. And then part of that meant investing and saving and preparing for the future, making sure that the legacy is solid, making the legacy tight. Right? No, you're not doing this. We're not having you out here. You want to be an actress. That's what she wants to be, actress, singer, dancer, all that stuff. I said, you ain't running back and forth to no Diddy parties and doing favors for people, inappropriate favors, just so you can get a movie gig. That's for girls who don't have fathers protecting them. That, no disrespect to anybody in that category, but that's unacceptable in my book. That is not a standard that any real man, in my opinion, should ever allow. No, if you need my protection, if you need me, I'm here. Holler at me. Let me know what I can do. I want to have your back. I want you to grow. I want you to live. I want you to be free. But I think that we work together as a team and we support each other. We protect each other. And I don't know why that's so weird. I don't know why people think that that is corny or simping or whatever. It's very strange. It's in fact, it's embarrassing, actually. It's a little embarrassing when you have men that really think that taking care of your kids or anybody's kids or black kids in general is somehow a distraction from you living your best life. I think that men that in that category probably need to go through a rite of passage and understand what manhood is supposed to look like. I think, but then again, I'm not here to talk about the negative per se. I just really think that you have a cultural issue when you have so much of a fixation on instant gratification. That's a problem. When you have when you have so many millions of people that are fixated on the short term to the point where they will deny and neglect the long term. Well, they will throw away their future and the futures of their children so they can, live it up right now and look good right now, right? There are a lot of people that are more focused on looking good than on actually being good, right? And I will just tell you that all that fits into why you have so much economic pain. Like, it's all connected. That the economic pain is deeply connected to the culture. So when people tell me that this is the culture, Doc, we need to connect you to the culture. You need to be down with the culture. And I'm like, some of that culture, that ain't black culture. I don't know what the hell that is. That came out of the dumpster. Like, that's garbage culture. This is sexy red. That's black culture now. Really, for real? Are you serious right now? That ain't black culture. That's death culture. Demons are putting this. Like, come on, man. Anyway, let me keep going. Let me finish up here. All right. Last but not least, I circle back to when they mentioned that his house and his car, or his house and his credit cards, are all paid off. That means that, again, as a cultural value, he probably has some sort of philosophy or set of rules when it comes to debt. Right. And I remember when I was on the faculty of Syracuse, I called my grandma and I said, I need your help. I'm going to write an article for Essence magazine, and I know Essence is read mostly by black women. and I want to talk about financial stuff. And you're a black woman and you have ideas. I know that you have some set of rules you must follow because you've always been financially secure. And people in our culture are not typically that financially secure at your income level without having a code of conduct, some sort of pattern, some sort of set of standards that you meet. And sure enough, she sent me a list. She said, these are 10 money rules that I follow. And I don't remember all of them. I got to go find that list. But I remember one of them was, basic stuff, like stuff that she learned from her parents, like you give 10% to savings and 10% to the Lord. Like had an old school grandma rules, but they were good. And she had rules about debt, and she had rules about about sort of like not loaning money to family members, and unless blah blah blah, or if they don't pay you back, she would never loan you money ever again. She just had kind of these interesting financial rules of wealth protection that weren't necessarily hyper sophisticated. You're not going to find them in any textbook, but they worked. They worked for a woman who was born in the Great Depression. They worked for a woman who said that we were so poor that we didn't even know we were poor. She said when we went through the depression, we didn't even know there was a depression because we weren't any poorer than we already are, because we already didn't have nothing. And in the depression, everybody didn't have nothing. And then when everybody got something, we didn't get more. We were still poor. So we didn't even know that there was a depression. That's what my grandma used to say. So here's what I want you to understand. This is what I want you to process real quick. This is my something to help us summarize this. I believe that your elders possess wisdom and keys to success that you really want to study as much as you studied all that crap white people taught you when you went to college. I really do. I believe that they have extraordinary skills when it comes to survival in tough environments. Some of them thrived in environments that were situations you couldn't even imagine, and they just had a toughness that we just kind of lost over time, because we fell for these myths of equality and this is the way things should be. And they didn't focus on what the way things should be. They focused on the way things were. Right? That's the difference, right? They didn't live in this fantasy world where we would say, "Oh, this ain't right." I worked for the company and the white boy got the promotion and I didn't get. They just accepted that. They'd be like, "Yeah, you black, they're not gonna give you nothing." Right? So they had something that I think we should go back to in terms of studying. So it's not so much something you would find in a textbook or at a university. It's really just culture. It's really culture and wisdom, and it allowed them to accomplish things 50, 60 years ago that a lot of our people can't even do right now. And I mean, you process this. You have this free society. You got all these opportunities, and ain't nobody gonna kill you for starting a business. Ain't nobody gonna kill you for reading a book. Ain't nobody gonna kill you for for having a family reunion or whatever. But yet somehow we are so what's the word? We are so paralyzed by what we see as all this inequality that we sit around and focus on what we can't do instead of thinking like, well, what can we do? What are we able to do? And if we have the discipline to go do it, who's going to really stop us? I've never met a white man who told me I could not get on my phone and buy some stock. That does not happen. There's no white person gonna slap the phone out of my hand and say, Negroes can't be investing. We can't have black folks out here but building wealth. What's wrong with you, boy? Like that doesn't happen. So my thing is that I think that we are in a psychological trap. And I believe that the answer to getting out of that trap is to go back to the elders and the ancestors and say, how did y'all do it? How did you go acquire all that land in 1924? Right? How did y'all figure out how to start more businesses than we have right now? How did y'all do these things? I like this man because he's an elder and he did it in a real simple way. He made $12 an hour and he built a $500,000 portfolio. I bet you there are people that make $500,000 a year who can't build a $500,000 portfolio, but this man did it with $12 an hour, and it wasn't because of his education. It wasn't because of wealth he was given as a kid. It was because of his value system, because of the kind of man he wanted to be. And I admire that immensely. And so that's my message for today. Right. I would love for us to build more men like that, more women like that. I think that if we do that, then we're going to conquer this wealth thing. We will lead the earth in terms of wealth creation. Can you imagine if his principles were taught to millions of people, and we had 10 million black people who thought like him? not the flashy Negroes on TV who are throwing away their wealth and opportunities, not the buffoons out here who want to be as dumb as possible, not the people out here that want to just destroy their legacy and throw away their children's wealth. But imagine if we had 10 million black people who thought just like this man. If we made simple rules from his behavior, a standard code of conduct in the B1 community, we would have trillions of dollars in a generation. Do you understand? So I'm gonna play this video one more time, and then we're gonna finish up with the key lessons we can walk away with, and then we'll be done. Before I do that, just a reminder, don't forget that to later on today at noon, we're gonna do the portfolio power play. I'll send you guys a link where you can do a free trial in the Black Stock Market program if you'd like to join us for that. That's where I'll also give you some stocks that I'm going to buy, stuff like that. And then on the 17th, Dr. Alicia is going to do her trauma-free, drama-free event where she's basically going to help you get your trauma score, show you how to address that, how to fix that so that it will enhance your physical and mental health, your financial decision making, etc. A lot of undiagnosed, untreated trauma is one of the leading, if not the leading issues that we have in the community, and nobody's talking about it. But she's an expert on trauma and she can help you with this. And the event is totally free. It's on the 17th at 8 p.m. I will text that out. Make sure you're on the text list. To get on the text list for this class, text the word morning, MORNING, to 87948. Text morning to 87948. So let me play this video one more time. I saw somebody was asking to see the video again. So let me find it real quick. And I'm just gonna tell you, this man's my hero. I don't even know. I think I didn't catch his name, but I'm gonna catch it this time because I just have so much respect for him. So here we go. Just an hour. Never earned more than
$1,000 a year.
How you doing?
So how could he know something about corporate profits? I had to pry.
So Earl, what's your net worth?
$500,000.
$500,000.
Yeah,
From working here.
working here.
That's amazing.
Over $500,000 net worth on a parking lot wage. How did he do it?
Stop working so hard and let the money work for you.
As the years rolled by, Earl kept saving what seemed like meaningless amounts. He started investing $25 each month into a mutual fund and did that consistently for 15 years. By the late 70s, his net worth was $25,000. He bought stock in blue chips like IBM and Coca-Cola that paid dividends and...
Instead of taking the dividends and pocketing it, let it set or let it reinvest itself and increase my shares. And the more shares I had, the more dividend I had, eventually the more money I have down the road.
He believed in the power of compound interest and stocks for the long haul. Today, Earl's stock portfolio alone is worth more than $500,000. And yes, his house is paid for.
All right. So there we go. That's that's our financial. I mean, literally, if a person simply saw something like that and applied it to their life, you could literally never get another financial lesson for the rest of your life and have more wealth than 99% of all Americans. Like that's how crazy that video is, in my opinion. And that's why I encourage you to not overthink it. Don't overthink it. Don't think, oh, investing's for rich people or investing's for white people or investing's for people that have taken a bunch of finance classes. I took all those classes so you don't have to. And there is a lot out there to learn for sure. But what happens is when you've seen it all, you're able to collapse it down to just a few basic things that will make a massive difference. And this man figured out, he cracked the freaking code. So teach that to your kids if you love them. And I guarantee you that they're going to be in a different financial space from all the other people. There are millions of people on TikTok right now crying and screaming about how hard it is to survive financially. My heart goes out to them. And the reason I feel so sorry for them is because they never had anybody tell them what I'm telling you right now. So let's be smart. Let's make it happen. We got this. We're gonna win. And so just a really quick reminder. Don't 7th. This is a gathering of like-minded people who kind of believe in the B1 culture. If you believe Black people should have mental health, physical health, better relationships, and also more wealth, then this is the place for you. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. You can see all the experts that we're bringing together. We've been working on this the whole year, and it's going to be a great place to learn and connect. And it's also a lot of fun. The B1 ball, everybody loves it. You guys are going to have a great time. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com, October 25th to the 27th. It's in 10 days. Oh my gosh, 10 days. That's crazy. All right. So have a good day, everybody. God bless you. I'll send you a text link afterward if you want to join the portfolio power play and do it for the word morning to the number 87948. Text morning to